the audience from the sentimental plane to a more scientific and rational plane. I hope I have a permission to that. Today's school books present the following information. In the course of evolution, the animal man, or Homo erectus, evolved 2 million years ago with a brain size of 1000 cc against a size of 400 cc of the apes. Evolution continued with the brain growing to 1400 cc 200,000 years ago, and this animal was known as Homo sapien. The present form of man was evolved about 35,000 years ago and is known as Homo sapiens sapien. Anthropologists have estimated that man developed a speech center in his brain 50,000 years ago. Now the question is, in this record of development, when did God originate and for what purpose? Number two, the progress of science has made it possible to...
Only one question, sir. Any question?
This is in relation to that. If you cut it short, the answer will not be long. Give me the time for the question, please. Okay.
When
the progress of science has made it possible to clone all animals, including man, to produce any number of animals having all desired characteristics. If God ever existed, how much of the power attributed to God is now left with him? Sorry? And the last, if God is ever existed, how much of the power attributed to God is now left with him? Third one, God is described as a sea of kindness, finished, and mercy. Yet all leaders of all religions, when faced with the prospect of death, rush to a hospital like the one next door and never to the place of worship where they preached all their life that man lives and dies by the wish of God. Is there an explanation for this phenomenon?
The brother has asked basically three questions. First, he gave, according to him, the theory of evolution of man and said, where does God fit in? Secondly, after God has created all these things, how much of his power has been reduced? Thirdly, that when you get sick, you run to the hospital, not to the temple or church or masjid. Three part of the question. He said the answer will be short. The question was long. So imagine, to give a detailed answer will take time. Brother, I'd like to tell you that what you quoted about the Homo sapiens, etc. You are talking about the theory of evolution, brother. Theory of evolution. I'm a medical doctor. I have not come across a single book in my life which says fact of evolution. It is theory of evolution. And even I know about the theory of evolution and about the Darwin theory. Complete answer refer to my video cassette, Quran and Modern Science, Conflict or Conciliation. What Darwin said was only a theory. He wrote a letter to his friend Thomas Thompson in 1881 that I believe in this theory of natural selection because I don't have any proof. Only because it helps me in natural selection, it helps me in embryology, in classification, in rudimentary organs. There's no book saying the fact of evolution. All the books say theory of evolution. That's why, if we have to say to a friend that if you are present at Darwin's time, Darwin's theory would have been proved right, trying to insinuate to look like an ape. There were missing links. Darwin himself said the missing links. You spoke about the hominids, you only spoke about one wave. I'll tell you about all the four waves. The first wave was Lucy. Lucy was first wave which came 3.5 million years. You talk about 2 million years, I'm telling you what scientists have said 3 million years ago. Lucy. It died out by the ice age. The second came the Homo erectus. About 500,000 years. After that came the Neanderthal man, the third wave, about 40,000 years ago. And the last was the Cro-Magnon. But brother, there is no link between all these stages. It's only a hypothesis. According to P.P. Grasset, who held the chair of evolutionary studies in Paris, in Sorbonne University, in 1971, he said, it is letting our imagination run too wild, just based on vestiges to say who our ancestors were. I do know there are some people who speak about Darwin's theory. I am a medical doctor, I know about that. But do you know there are hundreds of scientists who speak against it? So few scientists speak in favor, but there are more who speak against it. For the complete answer, refer to my video called Quran Modern Science. There are few scientists, because there is no fact of evolution, they say let's support a theory. Quran doesn't support any theory or hypothesis. Quran speaks about fact. So regarding your 2 million years, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala No beginning. When man came, no one knows the exact date. No one knows. Assumption is there. But Quran says the first man was Adam alayhi salam. First man. And with it came Eve. May Allah be pleased with her. Man hasn't reached that stage. There is not a single statement in the Holy Quran which science has proved wrong yet. Hypotheses go against the Quran. Theories go against the Quran. There is not a single scientific fact which is mentioned in the Holy Quran which goes against established science. It may go against theory. So brother, your thing is only supported by few people, not by the majority. Regarding second part of the question, that if Allah has created all these things, how less His power has become. You can't understand it completely. As the Quran says in Surah An'am chapter 6 verse 103, is beyond comprehension. I can give you a simile, not exactly same. An ocean. If you take a drop out of the ocean, how much does the level of the ocean go down? How much? How much? Yet, in spite of this, the difference between Allah becoming less when He creates things and the difference between the level of the ocean becoming less is infinite. The level of the ocean may become 0.00000 somewhere, 0.00 somewhere it will end. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not even a bit becomes less. He is all powerful. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If such a God who becomes less, we don't worship such God who becomes less. He keeps on creating, He will sometime lose His power. So this God is eternal, absolute. As I said in my talk, He is absolute and eternal. Everything depends on Him. He doesn't depend on anything. Where did Allah come? Allah was before the universe created. Where does He fit in? Where did He get created? He is uncreated. You ask me the question, where did He come into existence? He is uncreated. It's like you asking me that when I tell that my friend, he told me that my brother Tom, he gave birth to a child. Is the child girl or a boy? I, being a doctor, know very well a man cannot give birth to a child. So where does the question come whether it's girl or a boy? So you're asking me when did Allah come fit in the picture? Allah is uncreated. Because He is uncreated, the question doesn't arise. When did He come? He is there. Question doesn't arise. Regarding a third part of the question, that when people get sick, they run to the hospital. They don't run to the temple. They don't run to the mosque, not to the church. The brother may not be knowing all the people. I am a doctor, I know. That when the doctors give up, the thing we doctors say, we doctors say, Huwa Shafi, it is He who cures. That doesn't mean the person gets sick, only go to the temple. Because the Quran says in Surah Nahl chapter 16 verse 43, as well as in Surah Furqan chapter 25 verse 59, if you are in doubt, go to a person who knows, who's an expert. If you get sick, besides praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, go to a person who's an expert in medicine, go to a doctor. Quran says that. But even after going to the doctor, have faith in Allah. Because He is the person who cures you. He can cure you with a doctor or without a doctor. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we don't believe in blind belief. No Muslim scholar will ever say, if you are sick, don't go to a doctor. Go to a doctor, but finally, the person who cures is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why all the doctors, when all their brain, all their science, all the medicine fails, they say, it is only Allah who can save you.